Good morning, everyone. Today we are here in the studio of Russ in France to host a webinar called Bag-in-Box, Unpacking the Future of Packaging. My name is Galina Smirnova. I'm Marketing New Market Project Manager in the Bag-in-Box division. And next to me is Patrick Vuchor, the Chief Scientist, and Aline Martin, R&D Project Manager. First of all, welcome and thank you for joining us. And in the course of the presentation, you would like to ask us any questions, please put them in the chat box, and the questions will be seen by us only, and we will come back to you afterwards and reply individually. So, colleagues, tell me please, why is it imperative today to talk about the future of bag-in-box?
So the main reason is that the European regulation on plastic packaging is undergoing a lot of changes lately, and you need to keep updated and also prepare for necessary adjustments on the packaging. The best example is the Single-Use Plastic Directive that entered into force on July 3rd this year, and it concerns plastic packaging of 3 liters and below for beverages. And for these packaging, the tap must not have any removable parts. And so that's why now we cannot no longer sell the standard V-top for these beverage applications below 3 liters. We can only sell it for more than 3 liters or for exportation outside of the European community.
Okay, so Patrick mentioned beverages. Aline, could you please precise what products are exactly in the scope of this regulation and if they're the same for the pouch up?
Yes, so it's very important to know the scope of this new regulation. So the packaging covered includes the bottles, the cans, bricks, and also flexible packaging like bags for bag-in-box and also pouch ups. And regarding the beverages, it includes wine, of course, but also juices, refreshing drinks, water, and milk. There are some exceptions. Some liquid products are more considered as food than beverages. So, for example, liquid yogurt and soup, they are not in the scope of the law. And the last information that Patrick already mentioned is that all the containers that are over 3 liters are not included in the new regulation, so they can still use a detachable cap.
Good, clear about the scope. And if any of our customers still have taps like V-top original tap with the removable tamper evidence, can they still do something with those stocks or not?
So it's a very complex question, in fact, because it depends on the country. As it's a directive and not a regulation, each country had to introduce it in its own regulation, and so could also adapt it at the margin. The general rule is that a tap, the empty packaging, needs to be compliant when it's put on the market, and so the packaging with a non-attached tamper evidence could be placed on the market until 3rd of July. And then, after this date, they can still be resold, filled, and then proposed to the final consumer. But then they cannot leave the country, because we are talking here about placing on the market of a member state, not on the European market. But there are also some specificities. For example, in Poland, it's the filled packaging that needs to be compliant when placed on the market. And the deadline is 1st of July, not 3rd. So you see, they can really change some aspects.
Are there any penalties if any of the conditions are not met?
Yeah, and they can reach big amounts. For example, in Spain, the fine would be 100,000 euros and up to 4.5 million euros, depending if it's considered as a serious or very serious infringement. In France, that would be 45,000 euros plus a daily fine of 4.5 thousand euros. In Italy, 50,000 euros. In Germany, 100,000 euros.
Oh, that's definitely something that we can't neglect. That's true. But luckily, now we can introduce our new tap, V-top Uno.
Yes, indeed. It was very important for us to be ready for this new law. So fortunately, we had anticipated the change, and we have been working during 2 years in the R&D department to develop a new tap compliant with the law, but also that remains easy to use for the consumer. So this new tap is unique on the market and it's patented, and it's called VTOP Uno. So before to show you the VTOP Uno, I just wanted to show you again the standard VTOP to show you again the tamper evidence system that we have to remove before to use the tap. So this is the standard. And now with the new VTOP Uno, as you can see, there is no more detachable tamper evidence. The system has been replaced by two little plastic parts on the top of the wings, and it's very easy to use. You just have to click on the wings to break the tamper evidence and to serve a glass of wine or a glass of milk. So as you can see, it's very easy to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, this year we participate in various packaging awards with VTOP Uno, and the initial feedback from the consumers is really saying that it's a rare case when the optimization of the packaging design aimed to improve sustainability doesn't sacrifice the convenience of use for the consumer, but even improves it. Mm-hmm. So it makes it easier and better, as you said. So that's really amazing. And another proof that it is like that is that we've sold already more than 100 million VTOP Uno taps this year only. So that's a huge success. That's true. Absolutely. Okay, Aline, Patrick, tell us please, what was the qualification process of this new tap, and have our customers found this transition challenging or not?
So as for every new development of a new component, the VTOP Uno followed a very strict protocol in the laboratory. So first of all, we have tested the prototypes, then industrial pieces. And for example, we have tested the capping and uncapping forces, the tightness of the membrane. We have tested the resistance to temperature, to irradiation. We have also done aging tests. And something very important also, we have conducted tests related to the safety, food safety, to be sure that we were compliant with the European regulation.
So the first launch was done in the wine industry for wine applications. So the R&D team went to monitor the deployment in the customer facilities with various size of bags, various types of filling systems, to make sure it was working in any cases. And that's really the last step of our qualification process, as you know. Exactly. We also made for shelf life studies to make sure that the shelf life of the wine or the beverage in the bag-in-box was as long as with the previous tap, and we saw no difference in the shelf life. So it was important to check that too.
Yeah, that's true. And it's great to know that VTOP Uno is perfect for wine, because wine is still our first market. It's a big relief that we started all the qualification processes and shelf life studies well in advance, because all of that takes a lot of time. Yes. Yeah, good. So for wine, it's ticked, it's done. But then for other, what about other applications? Are we also ready with VTOP Uno for other markets?
Yes, so we are also ready. And that's right, there are other applications for which VTOP is used, for example, milk and juices. And those products are more sensitive to microbiological contamination. So our customers use other type of filling processes, a little bit more aggressive than the one for wine. For example, they use hot filling or aseptic filling with irradiated bags. So this is an extra stress for the packaging and for the tap, of course. So we wanted to secure those particular processes. So we have made some trials with a few customers from whom we took some bags after filling, and we have tested the bags in the laboratory. In particular, we have tested the tightness of the membrane, because that was the main risk. And we have confirmed that the tightness was still perfect, even after 100 opening of the tap. So it was really reassuring, and so today we can say that the Vitop Uno is fully qualified for a standard process, but also hot filling process and aseptic process.
Well, excellent. That means that we covered all the industries which are currently under the new requirements of the Single-Use Plastic Directive. So this point is closed. Excellent, as I said. So do we have any other challenges to face?
Oh, yes. So we have a very big challenge with this, which is the packaging and packaging waste regulation that we affectuously call PPWR. It's a very big challenge, but there are also opportunities.
Let's start with the challenge. So please explain us what is an issue with this standard bag-in-box design?
So this design indeed was not really thought to facilitate the life of the consumer. So let's dream a little bit. You are home on a weekend, you invited a lot of friends for barbecue, you are having a nice glass of Chardonnay, having a wonderful time. Your bag-in-box is almost finished. You have to remove the bag to finish the last glasses. And so you try to remove it from there, but the window is too small. So you try to open the box from the top, but then you're ruining your nails. It's hard, it's painful. You don't have time. I mean, I don't have all my life. My sausages are burning. I have to really tempted to get rid of this box like that. And it's not just to facilitate the life of the consumer. It's also very important for the PPWR. Why is that? Because this regulation is imposing that after 2038, the packaging will have to reach 80% of recyclability rate, or else will be banned from the market. If we cannot prove that the consumer is well separating the bag and the box and putting each one on the proper bin so that they can be recycled separately, then we will have to consider it as a paper-based packaging, because cardboard is the dominant material. And in the recycling stream of the cardboard, the bag is not recycled. With 75% of cardboard, we will never reach 80% unless we increase the weight of the box, which would be completely stupid. So there is really a very important challenge to prove this separation. There were studies made by CTO in sorting facility in France. The first results showed that around 75% of the consumer were separating the bag from the box. But that means we still need to educate 25% of the customer. And it was just first results. We need to confirm it in other sorting facilities and also probably in other countries.
Yeah, that's true. So that sounds really important. So let me summarize to make it crystal clear. So according to PPWR, we should be able to prove the separation of two materials, paper and plastic, so that they go to their own recycling streams and they reach particular level of the recyclability rate defined by the PPWR. If not, if we don't get this, if we don't get to this point, then bag-in-box will not be authorized on the market. Actually, we have a huge risk.
Exactly.
Indeed.
In it. Yeah, that's true. So, okay, so we need to do something with that. And as you said, we need to educate our consumers to help us with this battle. Let's forget about the old design and bring in the new one, which is called EasySplit Bag-in-Box.
So let's dream again, okay? We are still home with the same party, with our friends, with the same barbecue. Everything is fine. We passed from the annoyance of the previous bag-in-box and now are enjoying a glass of Sauvignon, because Chardonnay is not the only thing on earth. And it's almost finished, this new bag-in-box. So we have to remove the bag to finish the last glasses again. And oh, nice surprise. There are clear instructions on the top showing that I can remove it very easily from the front window. And the window is much bigger. It's very easy to open it and remove the bag. I can easily fill my last glasses and put each one on the proper bin. No need to be a bodybuilder anymore. Even my grandma can do it. And no stress. Everybody is happy.
Yeah, that looks very simple, but of course there is some engineering behind creating this solution. When we worked on it, we did it together with our corrugated division so that we make sure that we took into consideration all the elements required to make a solution really perfect for PPWR and for consumers. And actually, we applied the perforation guidelines created by our box designers in corrugated division and many years ago already, and they proved to be very efficient and successful on the market.
That's interesting. Could you show us this guideline, Galina?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. So this is a perforation tower, the model created in the Global Experience Center. The target of this model, of this tower, is to explain the perforation and to show well that the devil hides in the details. So let's start with the perforation, which is most obvious for this explanation. It's called zip. So as you can see it here, so these are two parallel lines, so actually cuts by knives of a particular shape. So the shape is absolutely parallel or wide from one side, and then it's narrower on the other side. And it's absolutely all the same without any change around the box. Absolutely the same. And then we have an option. We can open it either from the narrow side or from the wide side. I remind you, it's still the same, it's just a direction. So let's try. Oh, it doesn't work completely. Oh, and that is great. It's really clean and it's exactly what we wanted. So it seems that, yeah, we just changed the direction of the tearing, but in reality, we changed the stress points. And in the second situation, we just we guided the perforation line where we wanted, and in this case, it worked perfectly well. So perforation needs to be well created in terms of mechanical things and then guided correctly. If this approach is not applied, we have situations when we can't, or when it's very difficult to open the window. Oh, and you see it's cut everywhere, but not where we want it, so it doesn't work at all. Or even a slight optimization of the connected knives, like you see in here, could help. It's a little bit better, but not much. It's still a little bit a mess. Then we can go further and use the curved perforated lines, like in here, you see. The guidance is better, but it's only in here. And you see, still on the vertical parts, we have issues. And this is not what we really want. And it's still really complicated to open, to be honest. So I apply a lot of force. Then we can, to improve it further, we can change the type of the perforation or its configuration. Actually, in here, we all use the straight perforation. And if we change it for the fine lines, so different type of configuration, in this case, it's diagonal, but it's not obligatory, this case only, then let's see how it works. Oops, it was really easy, and it's clean. It's clean everywhere. So this is exactly what we want to have for our perforated window. The only thing is, we need to remember that we should not use the perforations which are too easy to open, because when it's too easy, we have a risk of a premature opening during transportation or storage. This is not what we want. And what else is, we should not use too many perforations on one side of the box. And because in this case, the box will be weakened and become unstable. For those issues, we also have guidelines, but these are mainly for the shelf-ready packaging and not for the bag-in-box window. So this is what we used.
It's a very technical topic.
Yeah, indeed.
So this approach has been used for the development of the new window on the EasySplit Bag-in-Box. How can we be sure that this new window is not only good for the opening, but also good for the strength of the box? Yeah,
as we already mentioned, indeed, this window is bigger than the standard one. The only way how to prove if it's strong enough at the same time is to make a test. Mm-hmm. So our colleagues in the UK, in the corrugated division, they produced industrial trial of the EasySplit, and they tested the boxes for the box compression test. So the vertical resistance of the box. And they compared, they did it the same for the standard configuration. They compared and they got very good results. Actually, this new box is even stronger.
Okay.
Yeah, so that means that we took into consideration all the details that are very important.
Okay, great.
Good. And actually, to make it even clearer for our customers, we created a poster on which we summarized all the main ideas. Let's have a look at this poster. So what is important? It's important where we place this window. So we marked exactly some measures, the most crucial ones. So the shape of the window, the shape of the opening, which is also important, then the type of the perforation and the way how we graphically make a contrast in between the starting point and the rest of the design. So these are the main principles used in this patented, actually, Smurfit Westrock structural design of the bag-in-box box. So then we also made pictograms. So the pictograms, as Patrick mentioned, we placed on the top of the box. They can be also put on the QR code or whatever you prefer. So, but what is important is really that these pictograms don't only cover the starting point and the way of using bag-in-box, but they go further and educate the consumers that it's really important to pull out the bag, to squeeze the remaining content, and then place the both parts in the recycling bins separately. So that both parts go for recycling, not only a box. So, okay, and for our consumers, we also made a video explaining all the steps of the EasySplit Bag-in-Box. So actually that's a good visualization how to open the window, and it's much easier with this new window in EasySplit. Then we place the tab, we close the window again. As Aline said, it's just a simple click with Vidal Puner, and you can pour your wine, water, juice, whatever it is in bag-in-box. It's very easy. No extra actions. Then you pull out the bag and squeeze the remaining content. You paid for it already, so why should we waste it? And actually after that, you are ready for recycling in a correct way, because you have separated a bag and a box. Easy as it is, actually.
It's very easy to use for the consumer indeed. Patrick, I have a last question. Is there other requirements about PPWR that we have to consider?
We talked about recyclability, but now there are two other parts, reuse and recycled content. For reuse, by 2030, final distributors will have to ensure that at least 10% of their beverages will have to be put on the market in reusable packaging. And by 2040, that will reach 40%. There are some exceptions for the highly perishable products, such as dairy product, milk, wines, aromatized wines, and spirits.
Okay.
The second part is on recycled content. By 2030, we will need to introduce 10% of recycled resins for contact-sensitive applications. So contact-sensitive is a new formula that means everything that we put on our skin, on our body, or in our body. So food plus cosmetics. So 10% for contact-sensitive and 30% for the rest, for non-food applications. And by 2040, we will need to reach 25% for contact-sensitive and 65% for the rest. So we started working already for non-food applications because you know that mechanically recycled resins are only allowed for non-food applications at the moment. And so we hope that the chemical recycling will increase so that we can use it also for the food applications.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think there is a last point that PPWR also imposes that the void between the primary packaging and the secondary packaging must not exceed 50%. And from this point of view, bag-in-box is ideal because there is no empty space.
Yeah, another great point. And actually, as we discussed, we see that bag-in-box ticked all the boxes. To sum up our webinar, which is coming to an end, we have discussed the most significant changes in the packaging legislation in Europe. So we talked about the single-use plastics and directive and VTOP UNER, which is compliant to this new regulation and user-friendly, which is also very important. We have been talking about the PPWR and the impact on bag-in-box, possible impact on bag-in-box, and introduced EasySplit Bag-in-Box, which would help us to educate consumers and reach the recyclability rates for both components of the bag-in-box, which is extremely important to be compliant with this new regulation as well. So that's it that we wanted to discuss today. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much again for being with us. If you have any more questions that you haven't put yet on the chat and you still have a chance to do it right now, please don't hesitate to contact us and we will discuss all your extra questions, give you more information if needed, or discuss your particular product with pleasure. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Have a very good day.
Thank you.